Did you know that a single genetic lineage originating in Mongolia may connect as many as 16 million men alive today? This incredible statistic isn't just about one of the most famous figures in history, Genghis Khan. It's a window into the fascinating story of Mongolian DNA. Mongolia, the land of vast open steppes, rugged mountains, and an unforgiving climate, has been home to nomadic peoples for thousands of years. These resilient communities didn't just survive, they thrived, creating one of the most unique genetic profiles in the world. Mongolian DNA is a blend of isolation and migration, adaptation and legacy, shaped by ancient empires, cultural practices, and harsh environments. But what makes their DNA so special? How did Mongolia's unique position, as both a genetic crossroads and a geographic stronghold, shape the genes of its people? And what can the legacy of the Mongol Empire tell us about the genetic connections we share across the globe? Today, we're diving into the mysteries of Mongolian DNA. We'll explore the adaptations that help them endure extreme environments, the genetic impact of the Mongol Empire on the world, and the ancient connections that link them to populations across Eurasia. This is more than a story of one group of people. It's a story of how history, culture, and genetics intertwine to create something extraordinary. And as we begin this journey, here's a question to ponder. Do you think the environment or culture has a bigger influence on shaping the genetic traits of a population? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Now, let's get started by looking at the land of the steppes and how Mongolia's geography shaped the genetic uniqueness of its people. To understand why Mongolian DNA is so unique, we first need to look at the land they call home. Mongolia is a country of extremes, a vast landscape of open steppes, towering mountains, and desert expanses like the famous Gobi. With winters that can plummet to -40 degrees Celsius and summers that can scorch the earth at 40 degrees above, it's one of the most challenging environments on the planet. For thousands of years, this rugged terrain has shaped the lives and the genes of the people who live here. The Mongolian nomads developed a way of life that perfectly complements their environment, herding livestock, moving seasonally to find the best pastures, and relying on a diet rich in meat and dairy products allowed them to thrive where others might have perished. This nomadic lifestyle didn't just shape their culture. It left a profound mark on their DNA. For instance, studies have shown that Mongolians possess genetic traits that aid in cold tolerance, an essential adaptation for surviving the frigid winters of the steppes. These adaptations include higher metabolic efficiency, which helps them maintain energy in extreme conditions, and traits linked to a robust immune system to fend off diseases in a harsh and isolated environment. But Mongolia's geography didn't just isolate its people. It also connected them. Positioned at the heart of Asia, Mongolia has long been a crossroads of human migration. It lies at the intersection of major trade routes, including the ancient Silk Road. For centuries, this network of trade and exchange brought diverse groups of people through the region, leaving traces of their genetic footprints behind. This unique combination of isolation and connectivity is one of the reasons Mongolian DNA stands out. While their geographic isolation preserved certain genetic traits, their role as a gateway for migrations introduced diversity into their gene pool. It's a balance that few other regions in the world can claim. But there's more to the story. The Mongol Empire, one of history's greatest powers, didn't just conquer vast territories. It also spread Mongolian genes far and wide. How did this empire leave an indelible mark on the genetic map of the world? That's what we'll explore in the next section. The Mongol Empire wasn't just the largest contiguous empire in history. It was also a major force in shaping the genetic landscape of the world. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan and his successors, the Mongols expanded their territory from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe, connecting cultures, peoples, and, of course, their genes. One of the most fascinating aspects of this legacy is what scientists call the Genghis Khan effect. Genetic studies have revealed that a specific Y chromosome lineage, traced back to a common ancestor around 800 years ago, is present in approximately 16 million men today. This lineage is believed to have originated with Genghis Khan himself or one of his close male relatives. How is this possible? Genghis Khan's conquests brought the Mongols into contact with diverse populations across Asia and beyond. As the ruler of a vast empire, Genghis Khan and his descendants established a powerful elite that often took multiple wives and fathered many children. Over generations, this lineage spread far and wide, leaving a genetic imprint on the regions they conquered. But the genetic impact of the Mongol Empire goes beyond Genghis Khan's direct descendants. The Mongols facilitated a massive exchange of people, ideas, and cultures. Their empire acted as a genetic melting pot, mixing populations from China, Central Asia, the Middle East, and even Europe. Soldiers, traders, and diplomats moved freely across Mongol-controlled territories, creating a level of genetic diversity that was unprecedented for its time. In Mongolia itself, this legacy is particularly evident. Genetic studies have shown that Mongolians have a mix of East Asian and Central Asian DNA, reflecting their central position in the empire. Yet, despite this diversity, certain genetic traits unique to Mongolians have persisted, highlighting their distinct identity. The Mongol Empire's genetic legacy isn't just about spreading genes, it's also about connecting humanity. It serves as a reminder of how human history and genetics are intertwined, showing us that even the most isolated populations are part of a larger story. But what exactly makes Mongolian DNA so distinct from other populations in the region? In the next section, we'll explore the unique genetic markers and adaptations that define the Mongolian people today. Now that we've explored the historical and cultural context, let's dive into the science. What exactly makes Mongolian DNA so unique? One of the most striking features of Mongolian genetics is the presence of specific haplogroups, genetic markers that are passed down through generations and help trace human ancestry. In Mongolians, some of these haplogroups are distinctly East Asian, reflecting ancient connections to populations in China and Siberia. However, others show links to Central Asia and even Western Eurasia, highlighting Mongolia's role as a genetic bridge between the East and West. For example, the Y chromosome haplogroup C3 is particularly notable. It's found at high frequencies in Mongolian men and is often associated with the lineage of Genghis Khan and his descendants. This haplogroup has spread across Asia and even parts of Europe, illustrating the far-reaching genetic influence of the Mongol Empire. But it's not just about ancient lineages. Mongolian DNA also reveals fascinating adaptations to their environment. For thousands of years, the Mongolian people have lived as nomads in one of the world's harshest climates. Over time, their genes evolved to help them survive and thrive in these extreme conditions. One example is their ability to tolerate cold temperatures. Genetic studies have identified markers associated with increased metabolic efficiency and fat storage, traits that are crucial for enduring Mongolia's bitter winters. These adaptations are similar to those found in other populations that live in cold climates, such as the Inuit in the Arctic, but they're uniquely tailored to Mongolia's specific environment. Another key adaptation is the ability to digest lactose into adulthood. Unlike many populations in East Asia, Mongolians have a high prevalence of the lactase persistence gene, which allows them to process dairy products. This is a direct result of their nomadic lifestyle, which relies heavily on livestock and dairy as primary food sources. Mongolian DNA also reflects the influence of their social structure. Nomadic communities were often organized into clans and tribes, with intermarriage playing a role in maintaining genetic diversity. This structure helped preserve certain genetic traits while allowing for a level of genetic mixing that's rare in isolated populations. But what's most fascinating is how Mongolian DNA defies easy classification. While they share genetic traits with neighboring populations, they also have markers that are uniquely their own. This blend of ancient heritage, environmental adaptation, and cultural influence makes their DNA a remarkable case study in human evolution. In the next section, we'll take a step back and explore how Mongolian DNA connects to even older human populations and what it tells us about the deep history of human migration across Eurasia. To truly understand the uniqueness of Mongolian DNA, we need to go back, way back, to the ancient populations that lived in this region thousands of years ago. Mongolia isn't just a genetic crossroads. It's a treasure trove of connections to some of humanity's most ancient lineages. One of the key links is to the Scythians, a nomadic group that dominated the Eurasian steppe during the Iron Age. Ancient DNA extracted from Scythian burial sites shows genetic similarities to modern Mongolians, suggesting a continuity in populations across millennia. These connections reveal that Mongolia has been a hub of human activity for far longer than most people realize. Even earlier, we see ties to the Xiongnu, a confederation of nomadic tribes that existed over 2,000 years ago and were often considered predecessors of the Mongols. Recent genetic studies have shown that the Xiongnu were a highly diverse group, with genetic markers from East Asia, Central Asia, and even Europe. This diversity is reflected in the DNA of modern Mongolians, highlighting their deep connections to these ancient steppe cultures. But the story doesn't end there. Mongolia's genetic history extends back even further, connecting to the very first humans who migrated out of Africa. Fossil and genetic evidence suggest that early human populations moved through Central Asia and Siberia on their way to East Asia, leaving traces of their DNA in the region. In fact, ancient remains discovered in Mongolia, such as the 34,000-year-old Ust man, provide critical insights into how humans spread across Eurasia. These discoveries have revealed genetic continuity in the region, showing that the people living in Mongolia today carry the legacy of some of humanity's earliest ancestors. What's especially intriguing is how Mongolian DNA bridges east and west. Genetic studies have identified markers in modern Mongolians that are shared with populations as far west as Europe and as far east as Japan. This genetic blending reflects Mongolia's role as a meeting point for ancient migration routes, where cultures and genes mixed and evolved over thousands of years. But there's still so much we don't know. Did Mongolia serve as a staging ground for early migrations into the Americas? Could its ancient populations hold clues to lost civilizations that predate written history? These are questions that researchers are still exploring, using cutting-edge techniques in genetics and archaeology. What's clear is that Mongolian DNA isn't just unique. It's a living record of human history, connecting us to the ancient world in ways we're only beginning to understand. In the next section, we'll shift our focus to the global impact of Mongolian DNA and what it reveals about the interconnectedness of human populations across the world. The story of Mongolian DNA isn't just about one population. It's about the interconnectedness of humanity. For thousands of years, Mongolia has been a genetic and cultural crossroads, influencing and being influenced by populations across the globe. One of the most significant contributions of Mongolian DNA to global genetics is its role as a bridge between East and West. Mongolia's location in the heart of Asia made it a key stop on ancient migration routes and trade networks like the Silk Road. This constant movement of people introduced genetic diversity into the region and allowed Mongolian DNA to spread far and wide. We see this influence most clearly in the genetic legacy of the Mongol Empire. The vast territories conquered by Genghis Khan and his descendants stretched from the Pacific Ocean to Europe, bringing people together under one rule. This unprecedented mingling of populations left a genetic imprint that's still detectable today. As we've mentioned earlier, a specific Y chromosome lineage linked to Genghis Khan is found in millions of men across Eurasia, demonstrating just how far Mongolian DNA traveled. But the impact of Mongolian DNA isn't limited to ancient history. In modern genetics, studying Mongolian populations has provided valuable insights into human adaptation and health. For example, researchers have explored how Mongolians develop genetic traits to thrive in cold climates and high altitudes, which could have implications for understanding similar adaptations in other populations. Mongolian DNA has also contributed to our understanding of lactose tolerance. While much of East Asia has a low prevalence of lactase persistence, Mongolians stand out for their ability to digest dairy products into adulthood. This adaptation is a direct result of their nomadic lifestyle and reliance on livestock, offering clues about how diet and culture shape human genetics over time. On a broader scale, Mongolian DNA serves as a reminder of how interconnected human populations are. By studying the genetic makeup of Mongolians, scientists have uncovered ancient links between populations in Europe, Asia, and even the Americas. These discoveries challenge the idea that human groups evolved in isolation, instead painting a picture of constant movement, mixing, and shared ancestry. What's more, Mongolia's genetic diversity highlights the importance of preserving indigenous populations. In an increasingly globalized world, unique genetic traits and cultural identities are at risk of being lost. By supporting research in cultural preservation in Mongolia, we not only honor their history, but also enrich our understanding of what it means to be human. In the next section, we'll turn our attention to the Mongolian people today, how they're preserving their heritage, navigating modern challenges, and continuing to shape the story of human genetics. The Mongolian people today are the proud inheritors of a rich genetic and cultural legacy. But like many indigenous and historically significant populations, they face unique challenges in preserving their identity in a rapidly modernizing world. For centuries, the nomadic lifestyle of the Mongolian people defined their way of life, herding livestock across the vast steppes, living in portable jars, yurts, and relying on close-knit communities were all central to their culture. This lifestyle not only shaped their traditions, but also influenced their genetic traits, making them one of the most resilient populations on Earth. However, in recent decades, Mongolia has undergone significant social and economic changes. Urbanization is transforming the way people live, with many Mongolians moving to cities like Ulaanbaatar in search of better opportunities. This shift is creating a new dynamic where ancient traditions are at risk of fading. One example is the decline of the nomadic way of life. While nearly 30% of Mongolians still live as nomads, the pressures of modern life, such as climate change, economic challenges, and the allure of urban living, are causing younger generations to leave the steppes. This transition is not just cultural but genetic, as intermarriage and migration begin to diversify Mongolia's genetic pool in new ways. Yet, amidst these changes, there is a strong movement to preserve Mongolian heritage. Efforts to maintain traditional practices, such as throat singing, wrestling, and the celebration of Naadam, help keep the culture alive. The rise of Mongolian cultural pride has also led to the revitalization of traditions like eagle hunting and the crafting of traditional garments, ensuring that their unique identity endures. On the scientific front, Mongolia has become a focus of genetic research. Studies of ancient DNA from the region are providing groundbreaking insights into human history, while modern genetic research is helping to document the distinct traits of Mongolian populations. This research not only benefits science, but also reinforces the importance of Mongolia's contribution to the human story. Mongolia's nomadic heritage is also finding its place in the modern world through tourism and cultural outreach. International visitors are drawn to the country's untouched landscapes and the enduring traditions of its people, fostering a global appreciation for their way of life. But there's more to the Mongolian story than just preservation. The Mongolian people today are adapting and thriving in new ways, blending ancient traditions with modern innovation. Whether it's urban Mongolians finding ways to reconnect with their roots or nomadic families embracing technology like solar panels and mobile phones, they are proving that a rich cultural legacy can coexist with progress. Ultimately, the Mongolian people today stand at the crossroads of past and future. Their DNA, shaped by thousands of years of history, continues to tell a story of resilience, adaptability, and connection. By honoring their traditions and embracing new opportunities, they are ensuring that their unique identity remains a vital part of our shared human journey. The story of Mongolian DNA is one of resilience, diversity, and profound historical significance. From their ancient connections to the Jomon, Scythians, and Xiongnu, to the genetic legacy left by the Mongol Empire, the DNA of the Mongolian people offers an unparalleled window into human history. What makes Mongolian DNA so unique isn't just its genetic markers, it's the story those markers tell. They reveal how ancient migrations shaped our world, how human populations adapted to harsh environments, and how a single lineage can leave an indelible mark on millions of people across the globe. But the Mongolian people today are more than just a connection to the past. They are living proof of the human ability to adapt and thrive, balancing their rich cultural heritage with the demands of a modern, interconnected world. As they preserve their traditions and contribute to global genetic research, the Mongolian people continue to play a vital role in the story of humanity. So, what does this all mean for us? The story of Mongolian DNA reminds us of how deeply interconnected we are. It's a reminder that no matter where we come from, our histories, and even our genes, are linked in ways that stretch across continents and millennia. And as we look to the future, the study of Mongolian DNA has much to teach us. Could it unlock secrets about ancient human migrations, environmental adaptations, or even the future of genetic diversity? These are questions that researchers are still exploring, and the answers could reshape how we understand our shared human story. Now, it's your turn. What did you find most fascinating about Mongolian DNA? Was it the genetic legacy of the Mongol Empire, the adaptations to life on the steppes, or the ancient connections to early human populations? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of Mongolian DNA, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Together, we'll continue exploring the untold stories of our past and uncovering the secrets that connect us all. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.